How you doing, Juan Antonio?
Armin, how are you?
Doing well. We're looking at y'all's website here.
Great. Yes. www.portsanantonio.us.
Very nice. Very nice. You got a very vibrant website here.
I agree.
How's life treating you?
We have a really terrific marketing and communications team headed up by my colleague and friend Paco Felici, who produces a tremendous amount of great content for our website, supports our customers in terms of developing, supporting them in developing really useful marketing materials, right? So one of the added values that you get in locating your business at Port San Antonio is that you get a marketing and communications team, a government relations team, as part of the deal, if you will, support you in your business development endeavors. And so the ability to do this kind of programming and content development has proven really important during the pandemic. We're all home, right? So, or have been. And I'm amazed at the quality that put out. So thank you for drawing the attention of our viewers to the website.
And we have about a minute left before we officially start. Your voice is coming in and out. I don't know if you can adjust something or.
Let me see. Yeah.
There you go. You sound a lot better now.
Let me see if that. How does that do better?
Yes. I could hear you better. I'll interrupt if if something happens with the sound. And I'm sure our viewers will also say something. We're getting several people coming on to watch. I did want to point out really great work by your social media team. I mean, they posted to promote this discussion. They were very proactive in getting the word out on Facebook and also on Instagram. So kudos to, I don't know if it's the same team that does that, but really nicely done.
It is. So thank you. Yes,
absolutely.
I shared the announcement on my social media, and it takes quite a bit of effort to get people to want to have to listen to me, Armin. I hope you understand that. So.
Oh, I doubt that. Well, we're here. It's a little after 2:30. Thank you all for tuning in. We've got a lot of I see several of my board members who are tuning in, and several people from Port San Antonio. We're talking to Juan Antonio Flores with Port San Antonio. By the end of our discussion, you will find out everything you need to know about Port San Antonio and maybe a little bit about Juan Antonio. Why don't tell us a little bit about how you've personally been doing with COVID-19, working from home, and how the port's doing and during this pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I would urge all of our viewers to, if they didn't already read it, see last Friday's article in the San Antonio Express News by business editor Greg Jefferson that talks about how we're doing at Port San Antonio. And I really like the piece because Greg, I think, gets it, right? He understands the value proposition that we have in our vision here. And what that ends up meaning in a situation such as this is that because we are an essential business as Port San Antonio, because so many of our customers operate in essential sectors, not the least of which is the defense and cybersecurity sector. We've been very fortunate at Port as a business entity, right? Even though we're a governmental or quasi-governmental entity, we don't rely on any tax revenue. So this property is not levying tax of any sort into our business. We have to operate as a business. We're an enterprise fund, so we rely exclusively on the income from our leases and the services we provide. So
let's back up a little bit, because I think a lot of people know about Port San
Yeah,
Antonio. They've heard the name. Um, Give us a little background, like maybe a 360 view, big picture wise. What Port San Antonio entails? I think the magnitude, and I'd urge everyone to read Greg Jefferson's piece. It really gives a good idea of not only what Port San Antonio is doing now during the pandemic, but what it all the different avenues, education and cyber and workforce development. So walk us through what Port San Antonio is and how it contributes to the community.
sure, sure. Port San Antonio is the name, the colloquial name, if you will, for the Port Authority of San Antonio, which is, in technical legal terms, what we are is a defense-based development authority. We are the unit of government that the state legislature, in collaboration with the city of San Antonio, created in order to stand up called the Local Redevelopment Authority, which is the entity that takes over a federal asset like this closed military base and turns it into something good and useful into the future. So in 1995, when the Department of Defense, under the base realignment and closure process they undertook at that time, announced that Kelly Air Force Base was going to close. Of course, that was a real blow to San Antonio. Kelly Air Force Base has been such an important legacy of what San Antonio is as Military City USA, has been such a vital part, was such a vital part of growing the economy and growing the middle class in San Antonio. Talk to any native San Antonian, and they will attest that if not an immediate family member, a parent or a grandparent or an uncle, they had a neighbor or a friend. Everyone growing up in San Antonio over the last, 100 years really has been touched by the importance of Kelly Air Force Base. So the base was announced for closure, and it finally closed in 2000 under great political leadership from the local delegation, and so many people on our board of directors. I have to give a shout out to our board, Chris Alderete, our current board chair, who's been a long time civic leader in San Antonio, Alex Nava, our vice chair. So many great people on this board. I want to mention Juan Solis in particular because he was on city council at the time that the base was closed. A plan was put in motion to make the post Kelly Air Force Base era of San Antonio great, even greater than the Kelly Air Force Base era. And so today, what we are is we're a 1,900-acre industrial park that is multimodal, right? So to the port aspect of our name, we do have an airfield, general aviation airport. It's an industrial airport. It is operated under a joint use agreement with the U.S. Air Force. We have Lackland Air Force Base to the other side of the airfield. We have a rail port, and we have great access to all the major interstates. But today, we're not really a port in that traditional sense, or even an inland port in that traditional sense so much. There's some of that activity, but what we really are, and what our vision is to be a world-class platform for the development of the technologies and the innovation that's going to solve all sorts of problems into our future. We are the place that's going to connect the people with the technology and the opportunity to keep developing world-class solutions to some of our most pressing problems. And those specifically revolve around the future of the aerospace industry, cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, all of which relate to defense, right? And so there are really a lot of exciting things happening. We have over 14,000 people working on this property right now. Close to half, over half, well, no, not quite over half, close to half of that 14,000 number are either uniformed military personnel or civil service defense contractors. So an interesting thing, a funny story happened, along the way here. We closed the base in 2000. The Air Force left altogether. In 2005, they started coming back. And they started coming back because this is Military City USA. And we continued to have the real estate this property that made it easy for the Air Force to stand up operations that are of vital national security interest. And what's exciting about this is that we're talking about the future of how we defend ourselves as a nation. And it's not so much in the kinetic warfare, if you will, but cybersecurity and the protection of critical infrastructure are two incredibly important components. And outside of the DC, Virginia, Maryland cluster of this cyber and intelligence activity, San Antonio is the biggest cluster in the country. We're Cyber City USA as much as we are Military City USA. And what that means for us is that all of the industry that needs to be built up to support our military, and in particular, we have the 16th U.S. Air Force, which is the recently merged cyber and intelligence commands of the Air Force into a single command. They are headquartered right here. And so that's a big impetus to all of the activity that's happening here. And I could keep going, Armin. I get excited about this stuff, but in a nutshell, that's who we are: a 1,900-acre campus for innovation and jobs and economic development for San Antonio, focused on the jobs of tomorrow in the industries of tomorrow.
And there's a large aspect of education, right? I see you guys at the table at the chambers, education workforce committees, and you're looking at the future also, not only the immediate future, but you're looking at graduates, you're looking at developing the future workforce. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs that you have for, I know there's STEM related learning involved, some of those initiatives?
Yeah, so that is absolutely right. That's a huge part of what we are looking to do, what we're doing now, and want to grow into the future. That's a big part of how we support our customers. So over the years, the leadership of this organization has been involved in efforts such as the Alamo colleges standing up their everything related to their early college programs, and that facilitate high school kids beginning a career track, starting their junior year essentially in high school, to be able to graduate from high school, not only with their high school diploma, but with some type of certificate that is essentially the equivalent of an associate degree in either, aerospace or other manufacturing sectors, cybersecurity, etc. So that partnership with Alamo Colleges, which actually has a campus, a branch of their St. Philip's campus on our property at the railport, is vitally important. More recently, the work of our San Antonio Museum of Science and Technology, SAMSAT, which is a still to be fully discovered gem, a diamond in the rough that we're really going to put a lot of effort into growing on this campus, doing some phenomenal things under the leadership of a gentleman named who actually the bulk of the items curated in that museum are his personal collection. And you may have seen videos of kids coming and playing with the Tesla coils that we have in that museum. He has Nazi Enigma machines. He has the earliest iterations of Edison's light bulbs, and everything. Really, the history is reflected in that collection. But it's more than just showing off artifacts. There is programming that's happening there, and that we're very eager to support. So over the last year plus, I'm gonna let me be generous and say 8 months or so, we've had some 20,000 kids come through the doors of that museum, and coordinated efforts with the school districts, and we're focused mostly in working with our surrounding school districts, which are South San and Edgewood, in order to introduce kids to a learning pathway and a career pathway that they might not have thought was available to them. And it's very, very important, because what we hear from our customers over and over again, and the folks in the community that are doing the heavy lifting on economic development know that talent and having the pool of talent in this community and really throughout the country. I mean, it is the challenge that the communities face in attracting the types of industry jobs that they want. So everything that we're doing in terms of new project development is pretty much focused on that. And so, that's kind of in general terms, some of the things we're doing. I can talk about Compass Rose standing up a campus on our property. So Compass Rose is a successful and proven charter school operator. They have a campus over at Brooks. They're standing one up here. The first classes will begin school on this property in the fall. So we're very excited about that. And of course, in a minute, we're going to talk about our innovation center and everything we expect to do there. But I'll pause and answer any questions you may have about all of that.
Well, in addition, I know you all, the museum works with the Girl Scouts and Girls Inc. and some other entities as well to really, it's not only is the museum a hidden gem, it seems like a lot of the initiatives from Port SA are hidden gems as well. And I only know about it because you've been at the forefront, and you and Greg and others have been very forthright. You also support a lot of community initiatives. I know you've been, Port San Antonio has been has supported the award dinner, our International Citizen of the Year. Y'all are very supportive of international efforts where we're involved, putting on discussions and whatnot. What does community being involved in the community mean to Port San Antonio as far as the value is concerned?
Well, it's incredibly important, and you're right. We do allocate substantial resources to community and philanthropic endeavor, but make no mistake, all of that is done through the lens of what we see to be our corporate social responsibility objective as an organization, right? So what that means, every investment that we make into the community, it has been vetted and tested to align with our mission as an organization. So it's about doing good in the community, but it's in a way that fosters the growth and development of the types of things that are going to support us and grow the industry and the talent pipeline that is important to building the jobs that we're trying to grow here. So organizations like the World Affairs Council, of course, are vitally important because the vision that we have for the problems we're going to solve on this property align with the protection of civilization, if you will, the protection of organized governments, to hint at a little patriotism here, protecting the free world, right? I mean, that's what our armed forces aim to do, and what that means and how it's done is rapidly evolving, changing tremendously, and among the things this pandemic has exposed is that the idea of what a threat is to peace and to order is evolving, right? So cyber protection, the hardening of critical infrastructure, protection of critical infrastructure, and building community resiliency are the buzzwords now, right? And none of that really has to do with kind of kinetic attack that for so long we've been organized as nations to defend against, right? It's coming from a different way, right? Being hacked to your thermostat is not something that even 20 years ago might have been fathomable, and that could be devastating to your electric grid, for example. So it's a rapidly changing world, and forums such as the World Affairs Council, I believe, given the the type of content and programming you all develop, are great fora for the discussion of these kind of really compelling.
We have just a few more minutes left because I do want to talk about your musical career. Um, I want to end on that.
Career, that's
but
how incredibly generous of you. Thank goodness it's not my career.
I have. What's that?
I said, thank goodness it's not my career. The music.
Well, I'll get back to that. But tell us about the Innovation Center,
Yeah.
and some of the things coming up. And also, I know Jefferson's article talked about the jobs created within the last few months, or was it 3,000 jobs?
Yeah, 3,000 jobs in the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, 3,000 new jobs at the port. This is not just in the existing or legacy industries and with our legacy employers here. I do have to give a shout out to both Boeing and Standard Aero as anchors of our aerospace manufacturing and our aerospace MRO industry, maintenance, repair, and overhaul industry here, who continue to win phenomenal federal and commercial contracts, and are committed to doing that work on this property. So amazing things that not everyone knows about with regard to the work that Boeing does here in maintaining the entire global C-17 fleet, not just the U.S. fleet, but all the allied fleets throughout the world that operate that aircraft. Boeing having won the federal contract for the modernization of the F/A-18 Super Hornet fighter jet. And the reason that's a big deal is that gets right to demonstrating or exemplifying the type of work that we want to see, the types of contracts we want to see happen over and over again on our property, which is taking a legacy aircraft and a legacy industry and upgrading it in the future. So all the F/A-18s in the U.S. fleet are coming through Port San Antonio and are going to be modernized with their avionics and cyber hardened, if you will. And so it's a perfect example of the type of jobs that we want to grow here at Port San Antonio. But cybersecurity, again, with the presence of the 16th Air Force, right? So just if I wasn't clear earlier, the Cybersecurity and Intelligence Command for the United States Air Force, which is a key element of the U.S. Cyber Command, is headquartered in San Antonio, Texas, and it's right here at Port San Antonio.
Wow.
It's a phenomenal thing to know about our community. Right up the road, we have NSA Texas. Combined with the state National Guard asset, the fact that we have our owned major municipally owned facility here, there is so much opportunity to innovate around the protection of critical infrastructure. That's among the key things that we're looking to do here. And so we're building what we call the Alamo Security Operations Center, which is going to be the working laboratory, if you will, for co-location and collaboration among key municipal, state, and federal entities for information sharing around cyber attacks and other types of threats to, non-kinetic threats to critical infrastructure. So the RSOC is an incredibly, important project. The Innovation Center concept is our idea to build a 160,000 plus square foot building that will have multiple facets to it. An anchor or centerpiece to this facility is going to be a gaming arena. So we're going to have a major 2,000 or so, seat gaming arena in San Antonio. There's nothing like it here now. For those of us that follow gaming and know what's happening with gaming, it's beginning to surpass some professional sports leagues in terms of its reach and revenue. And what we know now is that the gaming and the gamification of industry goes beyond just an entertainment aspect. Gaming technology and gaming engines are behind everything from telemedicine and the advent of remote, surgery, for example, applications into how aircraft maintenance is done with, aided through virtual reality goggles. The days of print manual, the aircraft mechanic is sifting through as, he's trying to, find the right part to fix and whatnot. All of that's going into to a technological platform that's driven by gaming engines and learned kind of taught in a gaming sense. So the hook is the entertainment aspect of the gaming arena, but there are going to be learning and talent development opportunities that come along with that. So also in our innovation center, we will have what we call makerspace, or a technology space, where facilities that have the capacity for light industrial manufacturing, everything, jet machining to 3D printing labs to electronics labs, and these types of facilities where startups can incubate and come and test and validate, prototype their products, whereas all of this kind of equipment is cost prohibitive for a startup company. Going to a shared space, have access to it, is really important, and it's a very viable idea. This is our invention. You can go to places throughout the country and the world where these concepts are being proven out. Our niche is going to be all of the sectors that I just described for the industries that we already excel at in San Antonio. Co-working space, the industry showroom and technology transfer aspect of it is where the company developing these solutions and products in San Antonio and at the port can showcase them to the world. And so that in the future, the idea of a trade mission on the part of San Antonio is not traveling abroad necessarily to try to attract direct foreign investment, and bring companies to San Antonio. We're going to be talking about organizing trade missions where we take our customers on the road to sell the technologies that we're developing for San Antonio, in San Antonio. So
when is that innovation center expected to be open to the public? Is there a date in mind?
Yeah, so the schedule that we're looking at right now has us beginning construction by the end of the year, assuming that all of the due diligence we continue to have in front of us in terms of legal, financial, technical, environmental, everything, which we don't anticipate any obstructions. But I have to be careful. Our board, we're making decisions formally under the leadership of our board of directors incrementally. So our schedule has us going to construction by the end of the year, construction complete by the spring of 2022.
Okay. Maybe just in time for your little one to enjoy some of that stuff.
Yeah,
huh?
absolutely. Look, I mean, it's going to be a really exciting place to be. And the idea, so what we want to do, the spirit we want to foster is for kids in this community to have a place to go where they are exposed to ideas that they might not otherwise be exposed to, that they're exposed to opportunities academically, and for the older kids as they're looking at making career decisions that they might not otherwise be exposed to change the face of San Antonio, right? Continue to grow Military City USA in the context of what protecting our nation is going to mean into the future, which is going to be something, again, back to that idea. It's different from what we've always thought.
Well, we have been talking to Juan Antonio Flores with Port San Antonio. If you want some more information about the port, please visit portsanantonio.us, right?
Yeah,
And
just real quick, especially for people that are either looking for work or know people looking to be employed, we have a jobs portal on our website,
oh,
and that is
let's
so
take a look at it.
note this down: www.portsajobs.com. Um, and yeah, you'll find the link from our page, but you can go directly to the jobs page through portsajobs.com. But just to give you a little snippet here, um, over 200 opportunities available as of June 2nd of this year. Um, Everything from Boeing in the aerospace industry, CACI and CNF Technologies, who are two of our cyber customers on the property, Chromalloy, which operates in the aerospace industry. Indomim is a manufacturing operation that actually chose San Antonio as its home over a lot of different sites, including international sites in Mexico and elsewhere, for their North American manufacturing. IP Secure, a homegrown cybersecurity company, Knight Aerospace, which is a phenomenal company that I need to give a shout out to, that is producing modules that are self-contained, negative air pressurized when needed, medical modules that fit into the back of military cargo planes. So you insert this module into the back of a C-5 and you have a flying hospital, right?
Wow.
All of a sudden. So they just recently announced their first sale of modules to the Royal Canadian Air Force, and we're trying to help them grow their business. And so so a lot of great opportunities. Visit the job site, please.
Wonderful. The Port San Antonio got a shout out from the West Chamber. They're happy to be working with you all. So the West Chamber says hello. One of our board members says a great discussion. He's with Conduit, JJ Casey.
Yeah, Conduit. Conduit has a couple of job opportunities available on our jobs portal. So thank you. Thanks for joining in. My daughter's watching, so I hope I'm not embarrassing her or disappointing.
Well, I've learned a lot. I knew about Port San Antonio. I'm glad you referred me to the article by Greg Jefferson. That gives a more detailed version of what Juan Antonio was talking about. I do want to finish off about your, I follow you on social media, and you're quite the musician. Haven't you played with one of our board members, Robert Barnett?
So Rob and I started a band, several years back, and actually got to the point where people were willing to part with their money to pay us to play, not to pay us to stop playing, but to pay us to play. We had a lot of fun doing that. Rob's a really talented and witty, if you will, song, writes some incredible songs. Yeah, so while we've been shut down, I've been learning to do these drum cover videos, which actually are not as simple to produce as it looks. It's something to occupy the time, and my kids all love music. All starting with my daughter, and then Samuelito, my son, the middle son, and then even little Mateo loves banging on the drums. And so all of them have played an instrument or two over the years, and it's a big part of our family life. So,
well, it's good to see you. You seem to have fun with it when you're jamming. So I look forward to seeing you maybe play at Sancho's one of these days.
Absolutely. Nice plug. That's a nice plug for your board member there. Before we go, Armin, tell me about, I really do want to, and I've told you this before, and I say it to so many people, the World Affairs Council and its work, its programming, and what you do with your International Citizen of the Year recognition in that event, it's my, I have to, hope I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. My favorite event of the year in terms of the civic occurrences. notwithstanding the love for my, San Antonio, Mexico Friendship Council and our Noche de Amistad, which actually will be coming up September 24th. Let me put a plug in for that. And it's important for me to mention very quickly Dr. Mike Flores, talking about that collaboration with academia. Dr. Mike Flores has been selected by the Mexican government to receive the very prestigious Otli Award. This is no small deal. The Otli Award is the highest honor that the Mexican government bestows on anyone living outside Mexico for their work and dedication to uplifting and protecting Mexicans abroad. And so we're incredibly proud of Mike. This award will be presented to him at our gala event, which is scheduled for September 24th, and we're making appropriate plans to have that be a properly socially distanced and safe event. But I want to ask you about any upcoming programming you want to be looking for from the World Affairs Council.
Wow, I couldn't have set it up better than if I had planned it. Thank you for doing that. And speaking of Robert Burnett, Robert's moderating a panel with the Mexican consul, the Canadian consul, and Congressman Cuellar next week, next Thursday. And if people go to our website through our Instagram link, they'll be able to register for that. It should be an exciting one. We're working with the Mexican consulate to do some other programming coming up. But next week we have that. We have another program on Iran, U.S.-Iran relations. And we'll have some others coming through. A lot of it depends on how all this COVID distancing works out. We always do in-person programming, so it's kind of allowed us to get out of our comfort zone to do digital and social media. But people like yourself have been very kind to support us in these adventures, and we're gonna bring content to people, to our supporters like yourself. I got to say one more thing. I appreciate the plug for programming, but I also want to thank you not only for the World Affairs Council and the International Citizen of the Year, but you're so involved with SAMFCO. You're involved in other things in the community and the chambers, and you're always at the table. And so I think the port is very lucky to have someone like you representing them. SA to DC, events like programs like that. So we appreciate you all as a partner, and we're looking forward to do some additional programming with you all. Maybe about cyber. I think that might be a good program that we could jointly do, and maybe do it at Port San Antonio to let people see the beautiful campus there.
We would love that. Thank you for your kind words. I will say I'm lucky to be with a company that encourages and supports us being involved in the community. I love that we do such a great job of back our philanthropy to the great things we're doing at Port San Antonio. It's about changing the economic future of San Antonio, enhancing it, investing in our people, giving hope to young kids, and I will tell you what World Affairs Council does. I have to say with World Quest, an academic World Quest in particular.
Yes.
So I not have mentioned this to you, Armin, but for several years running back, more than 10 years ago, I was the moderator for Academic World Quest. It was one of my favorite things to get to do. And for anybody who at any time might be, doubting about, the capacity and the passion and just brilliance of our younger people, go to an Academic World Quest and you will be blown away by so I just want to put a plug in for that.
Man, you're good. I appreciate that. Absolutely. We'll be hearing more about Academic World Quest. We have some new initiatives and new schools to partner with, including going south. So we're looking at Harlandale and expanding South San, and so I may be tapping on your door in February when we do this event. Juan Antonio Flores, Port San Antonio. Please check out the website. Check out Greg Jefferson's article just last week in the Express News.
Friday.
Thank you,
Yep.
my friend. I appreciate y'all's support, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I know we had a bunch of people tuning in, so thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please message us privately, and we will get back to you. Or if you need to connect to Juan Carlos, please message me as well. Hey, I might see you on the trails here at McAllister Park.
Hey, let's go ride, man.
Let's do it.
Always down for a ride. Great
All right.
to Carmen.
Thank you. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.